The Borderlands community is hyped up again, and every YouTuber and their sister's cousin's uncle has made a video about the things that we actually want in Borderlands 4. So now it's a good time to talk about the things that we do not want to see make a return in Borderlands 4. These are in no particular order, and let me know, as always, your thoughts in the comments down below.
And number 10 is...
Starting off at number 10 is item crafting. One of the core tenets of Borderlands is that it is a looter shooter. Crafting items destroys that by allowing people to just make items and not necessarily earn them via farming. Destiny 2 attempted crafting with disastrous results. Probably the closest that we should get to crafting is a return of the grinder from Borderlands the pre-sequel. A machine where you can place 3 items in, grind them, and make it into a new item. Maybe a combination of that plus the lost loot machine from Borderlands 3 allow you to grind all the items in lost loot to make something random.
Now let's see number 9.
At number 9, OP levels. Now, I genuinely do like Digistruct Peak as a map, and I like the idea of fighting Digistruct enemies in waves to unlock higher difficulty, but what I and most other players hate is the terrible balancing, the dependence on slag for damage, and having to reset your story playthrough to re-gear yourself for higher OP levels. There's just a bunch of bad decisions in the end game of that just drive me off of Borderlands 2 nowadays, and I don't want to see those things return.
And now for number 8.
At number 8, excessive immune phases. Yes, I am looking directly at you, Evil Lilith. Anybody that's ever fought Evil Lilith in Borderlands 3 Fantastic Fustercluck DLC knows exactly what I mean. A boss that just kind of goes and chills at the end of the map, making you wait with nothing to do as her quote-unquote immune phase. It is boring, it's dumb, it's hated by the fans. Not a single person has ever in the history of Borderlands 3 been like, that's really good mechanics. Having her just go over there for a little bit, I like that. Do that more. There's some other examples throughout all of the Borderlands games. You got Terramorphous, who will just chill underground sometimes, but at least that gives you a chance to run out and grab ammo or something. Bunker flying away, but at least you have robots to kill. Anathema in Borderlands 3, but at least you have enemies to kill and jumps to make, and you have to dodge the explosions. It's just too many immune phases, let's be honest. And then you got Tyreen at the end of Borderlands 3, when she just decides it's time to imitate Bunker and go flying around. I just want to slam my controller.
Number 7.
Speaking of wanting to slam my controller, driving maps. Why did Gearbox feel like they need to include a full map that only exists to do a driving mission in Borderlands 3? I will never understand this one. It is pointless. It's annoying. It absolutely kills the pacing again. After you've already gone through the slog of Eden 6, you get your pacing absolutely destroyed once again with these driving things. Honestly, Borderlands 2 is slightly guilty of this too. When you retrieve a car, then you have to drive across the dust, across Iridium Blight, then back across Iridium Blight, just to go into Sawtooth Cauldron, then back across Iridium Blight, then back and forth all over Aranex's Boneyard to do the whole pumping station stuff. Just no more of that, Gearbox, please.
And now for number 6.
Coming in number 6 is skins and heads being legendary items. In Borderlands 3, enemies could drop legendary heads and skins, and let me tell you, that was annoying. I'd love to see in Borderlands 4 a system where the game knows that you already have certain cosmetics and then just stops dropping them, or make all cosmetics available for Iridium or some other currency and just take them out of the loot pool system entirely. That's one of the big things that a lot of people I see complain about all the time, is just annoying heads and skins that they've already got and they don't want to see them on the ground. It seems like this should be an easy fix.
Number 5.
And number 5 is traveling to Sanctuary over and over, or whatever our hub area is going to be in Borderlands 4. Stop making us go back there after every mission or every other mission. We had to talk to Lilith 18 times in Borderlands 3. That's not an exaggeration. 18 times. That's just wild. Granted, we had to go back to Sanctuary a bunch in Borderlands 2 as well, but that wasn't as glaringly obvious how bad it was, since we were talking to different people a lot in Borderlands 2. We have echo devices on our characters. Give us mission info while we're running around on the planet killing stuff. There's really no need for this whole go back and forth nonsense.
Okay, here we are at number 4.
Coming in at number 4, quests with no rewards. Every Borderlands game has done this to some degree, but Borderlands 2 made side missions too rewarding with things like the Pimpernel and the Sandhawk. Meanwhile, Borderlands 3 made them unrewarding with terrible mission items. Mission rewards should feel good, but not be the most overpowered gear in the game, or at the very least, they should unlock good farms. Think Doctor's Orders in Borderlands 2, which gave us the Loot Midget farm, or Dynasty Diner in Borderlands 3, which allowed Moe's mains to farm the Minesweeper class mod. Not all missions can give good items and unlock good farms though, so at least make them give some currency that helps at that particular level. Iridium, a cosmetic, something. No more missions with the reward being a small amount of cash and basically no XP. This honestly kind of coincides really well with number 6 on the list. Maybe make cosmetics come from missions. That gives us a reason to go do missions and we get something nice out of it.
And number 3.
At number 3, this one became painfully noticeable with Borderlands 3. Terrible matchmaking. What happened, Gearbox? Why is it nearly impossible to find people to play with, even when player count is up right now? Is this a result of having normal and true Vault Hunter mode options? An issue with trying to match people with others that are on the same mayhem level as them? Maybe both of those things? I don't know. Something needs to be done about matchmaking. It was abysmal in Borderlands 3, and it just feels like with a AAA game like this, you should be able to find the best people to make the best matchmaking system for something like this. I mean, basically Borderlands is mostly a single player game that is a lot of fun co-op. So it doesn't feel like it should be this hard to like find that bump in the quality of matchmaking.
Number 2.
One of my biggest gripes since the launch of Borderlands 3 has been the amount of visual pollution we've had to deal with. This was also an issue in Borderlands 2, but it got so much worse in Borderlands 3. Explosions everywhere, weapon effects, radiation, visual effects on the side of the screen for like haunted and like shields and all that stuff, Amara skills causing insane novas, and so much more. Sometimes you just have no idea what you're shooting at, or if you're even shooting at something at all. Like a lot of times you're just looking at the mini map and hoping that you can hit the red dot because you're aimed in the right direction. Visual pollution at least needs a slider. Say what you will about Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, and I will stand beside you while you're saying it, but they had some really good options for changing different things visually in their game, and I would love to see sliders for visual pollution, sliders for effects, the ability to toggle your HUD, all kinds of different things that you can alter to make your gameplay experience less visually explosive.
Honorable mention.
For our dishonorable mention, I'm calling the Linoge. No, but for real, all of the just horrible legendary items in the various games from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 3, just make them a lower rarity if you're not going to make them in-game viable, because if something truly is legendary, it should work at least somewhat in-game. It doesn't have to be the strongest item there is, it just needs to be functional. And I know I pick on the Linoge a lot, but that's because it picks on me.
Number 1.
Finally, at number 1, Mayhem Modifiers. Borderlands 3's Mayhem system would have been perfect with 2 simple changes. First, give each Mayhem level an option to run it without modifiers, and second, make them progression based. One suggestion for this would have been to unlock Mayhem 1 through 3 with the slaughter maps, then Mayhem 4 through 9 would unlock with the proving grounds, then to unlock Mayhem 10, it's Maliwan Takedown. This achieves 2 things. First, it teaches players where the end game is and how to do it. I say this because a lot of players still don't know about the proving grounds and the true trials toggle to make bosses in there have raid boss health. The other thing that you achieve by doing something like this, where it's progression based, is it will feel like you've actually achieved the higher difficulty. One of the biggest complaints that I've heard about Borderlands 3's Mayhem system is that it's unearned, and while you can make a case that just switching to Mayhem 11 is technically doable, I would say that most players can't just make that jump, and therefore you do need to progress, and you can do so at your own pace since that's different for everybody. But I'm also fine with the progression system, and I feel that that probably makes the most sense overall. But I've strayed from the main point of this one a bit. I want modifiers gone. No more enemies resisting a certain element, rendering a build and some of your hard-earned gear pointless. I know a lot of us like loot explosion and speed demon modifiers, but I will gladly do without those if it means avoiding roguelite, death skulls, and the floor is lava. Nah, screw modifiers. I hate them in Borderlands 1 during the Underdome, hated them in the pre-sequel with the Mutator Arena, and I despise them in Borderlands 3. Modifiers were honestly the thing that nearly drove drove me away from Borderlands 3. Luckily, they eventually added Mayhem 11, which is identical to Mayhem 10, but it removes the modifiers. Without that, I would absolutely not still be playing Borderlands 3, which is wild because you guys know how much I love this game. So those are my top 10 things that I do not want to see in Borderlands 4. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. The best one gets pinned to the top. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more Borderlands news, information, guides, and playthroughs. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.